amazing knack of finding somebody who would not necessarily look like a star, but they had a good voice. He could see the way that he would be able to successfully bring them to market.
The first time I was in the presence of Pete Waterman, let's say, he'd come up to see a showcase that our then managers had put together.
Then came the third group. They were called FBI.
I started as the drummer in that band, and then I kind of progressed into being the singer.
I couldn't take my eyes off him.
A former girlfriend of Pete Waterman's, she'd seen him, and she said to me, his voice gave her the... got her all wobbly. I'm just trying to put it in a better way than that. I don't know what to say, really.
I'll take that kid. I'll sign him as an artist.
I remember he had red leather trousers, and we all knew that he had a Jag as well because the Jag was outside. And we're all thinking, red leather trousers, Jag, music business. This is the way to go.
We've got him a youth opportunity training programme, a YOP. And he's going to get 20 quid a week. We have to pay him 20 quid a week.
I ended up being a T-boy at Stock Aitken Waterman's place. But it was amazing. It was like a really great apprenticeship.
And that's what he did. He came down and served us tea and sandwiches for a good year, I think, before we actually worked with him.
There is only me who makes decent tea down here, so somebody's got to do it, you know.
He was a singer and an artist that Pete wanted to develop. But the rest of the building weren't told that.
And he stayed with me in Crouch End in my flat. So we became sort of flatmates.
And I used to go into the studio every single day with him in the morning. Like, we'd get up, we'd have a cup of tea, we'd jump in the car, and off we'd go. And he'd had a huge, massive, big 80s phone. He'd be screaming and shouting at people. I don't think I ever saw Pete where he wasn't on it. I don't think I ever saw him where he was just chilled. He was always chasing the dream.
Rick was around Bananarama and Dead or Alive. He just was part of the team.
So I was setting the desk in the morning, preparing for them to make You Spin Me Round, or, you know, Respectable. I played table tennis with those guys. When I think about that, there's so many things about their building and their setup that I had no reference. So I just thought, well, it's normal. But it obviously was not normal. It was not normal in any way, shape or form.
You got to understand we had a great staff. And our staff were family. So Rick was family.
There was also the side of it where they went to the pub every night, and I mean every night. They were going to talk shop, they were going to talk business, they were going to talk about the records and probably talk about the artists. I was kind of allowed to sit with them.
And it was only some months later when Pete said, actually, Rick's here to develop as an artist and as a writer. And we started helping Rick and working with him.
He has a baritone, but when he reaches the high notes, it's committed and full and accurate. And I thought we need to make a song that will show that voice off.
Peter had come up with this title, Never Gonna Give You Up, just to get the starting point. We were just shouting lines to each other, and after about 5 minutes of that, Mike says, great, I've got that, fantastic. And then we sat down and wrote the verses.
When you're laying a master down on anybody's vocal, you're putting something down that's never been put down before, and sometimes you've got to do it note by note.
Mike was pretty tough, I think, in terms of getting you to do the vocals the way he wanted them.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I.
And he had a certain thing in the way that he wanted the vocals to be, and all good producers do, and I've come to realise that. But as a 21-year-old, 20-year-old kid, I thought he was a bit of a tough nut, to be honest, but he kind of had to be. I was very inexperienced, I didn't really know what I was doing.
Peter came in and said, and by the way, how's that Rick Astley track going? And we said, well, we seem to have hit a brick wall. And the reason it wasn't working was that Rick's voice was dragging the track back, because it's so big and so all-encompassing and so powerful that there was no funk in it, there was no rhythm, there was no groove. We found a track that was out at the time that was a sort of house music track that just happened to be in the same key as well, weirdly. And we basically grafted that rhythm track onto what we had, and suddenly it worked. And it was just like, wow, where did that come from?
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
I mean, it's so difficult for me to talk about that song because it's literally part of my DNA.
Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
That record is the absolute turning point of everything in my life, and so I'm pretty emotional about it even today. I'm still unbelievably grateful for it.
When people saw Rick for the first time, they were shocked.
I think people thought he could be a black American singer.
All the cabbie drivers in London said, "Did you see that guy last night? I thought it was Luther Vandross."
I'd have to say most of my favourite singers were American black guys. And without them knowing it, they taught me to sing.
Most people thought it was someone else singing and it wasn't really him.
One of the morning shows, they sort of thought they'd catch Rick out. So they rang Rick in a hotel in Glasgow and asked him to sing on the radio live. That wasn't a problem for Rick. Radio 1 just took off. Because once he'd done that, every DJ on Radio 1 all day was talking about it, and for days saying, "Did you hear this kid? He's unbelievable."
I played this song, and I think I played it again. It was so good. It is just the perfect pop song.
Once these things are released, we're on to the next things. We're not paying much attention until suddenly I find out he's on top of the pops.
Bit closer, 3, can you?
And suddenly we're number one. And we're number one in France and Germany. And all of Europe, 25 countries, we're number one. Some records you can't stop, you know.
It's one of those melodies that puts you in a time and a place and reminds you of where you were, and it defines a moment in time.